Okay, so today I'm going to explain how the media influences the perception of our body image. So basically, like this picture, like this is like how society kind of forces us to view us, like skinny. Everything looks good on skinny, and then the warning reflections in this mirror may be distorted by socially constructed ideas of beauty. And then according to BBS Health, 90% of women are unhappy with their body, and 82% of men think that the arms, chest, and stomach aren't muscular enough. So.
Oh no.
And then, okay. So media surrounds our everyday lives. Majority of women are more unhappy with their bodies than men, but like the statistic shows that men are more too. They just don't want to admit it as much as women do, and women normally want to obsess more about their physical appearance and their fashion and whatnot. And then throughout our daily life, we see images, and we don't usually realize how much of an impact they have on us. So today I'll discuss how the social standards are inspired from media outlets, and how these false representations aren't like attainable, they're just not real, and how the media manipulates us to be attractive. Okay, so Photoshop manipulation, that is one example of how they do false representations. So this is what she really looks like, and so the truth and the lie. To me, that looks like a painting to me, and then, so she could be representing makeup, she could be representing hair products, but they're basically telling you like, this is what she really looks like, but it's not what she looks like. And then we don't really, when we see these in magazines, like if I were to see this, I would automatically think, oh, that's what she looks like. And then for the couple over there, you can tell that he has like this more of a six-pack in that one. They added hair to her. She has a slimmer waist. And it's just, even the skin in both of them, like it looks more flawless. So that just is an example of Photoshop through magazines. The second outlet is through internet, social networking. I have a quote from columnist Samantha Romo. So it says, with the aggressive progression of our need for constant communication and shared information, the media's influence is more widespread than ever. It has disguised itself as a norm of everyday life and engulfed itself as a part of our culture. So the context of our quote is basically saying, as our technology advances, we have it at our fingertips. Like we have Instagram, we have Facebook, we have internet at our fingertips with our phones, with our iPads, with our iPhones. And also studies show that the more that you look at someone's photo on like a social media, when you look at them, your actually increase of depression, chances of getting depression increases. Because you compare your life and yourself to them. So you're like, oh, my life they look like they're having fun. But that was really only a captured moment in their life. So that was an interesting thing I found. And then the third one is advertising, so TV. When we see advertising, most of it is designed to pump the expectations of what our body should look like. We see advertising everywhere. It could be from magazines to commercials to bus stops, so it looks like a bus stop or something, to billboards. And then for the pretzel chips, taste as good as skinny feels. It's basically saying if you eat these, you'll feel skinny and it'll taste good. And I'm just like, and if they do, and then normally they'll promote like have really beautiful girls for like beauty products or hair products, and they're saying like, oh, if you use this product, you'll look like her, or something like that. And then it takes a great deal of personal restraint not to be overly influenced by the force of these ads. So we don't really notice how influenced we are by ads. We just see them. We don't really we don't really think about what they mean. So, and then now that you have an idea of different media outlets influence our body image, let's take a look at how these images have created a false reality of the ideal person. So pressures on men and women. This is Joan Rivers. This is her in 1980, and this is her now. obviously she's had not just one layer of plastic surgery, but a lot. And so women feel pressured, oh, I want to get rid of these wrinkles, so I'll get plastic surgery, I'll get Botox, I want to look perfect. Men, they are more like, for their muscles, like I want to work out, I want to get bigger. Not that going to the gym is bad, but they just want ladies to like me, and they feel like the key to happiness is looking good. So that's what the pressures on them have. And so now that you have an idea of like how these images create a false reality, like through plastic surgery, Botox, and going to the gym, and like just like really to the extremes, let's go into the advantages of why we shouldn't feed into these media's perceptions of perfection. Studies show that physically attractive people are more favorably, we react more favorably. So if they're in a job interview and they're physically attractive compared to somebody else who isn't as physically attractive, they'll normally pick the more physically attractive one, which isn't fair because those assumptions like, oh, they have better characteristics, they're going to be more confident, they're going to be more confidence, isn't really like true. And however, they're pressured. There's benefits of being physically attractive, but they're actually more pressured into maintaining their good looks. So if they feel like they lost it, that actually creates some insecurities. And so, in conclusion, I've covered the 3 media outlets: how society manipulates these false standards, when in reality they're not attainable, and then those who are strong-minded individuals who reject these current standards are more likely to have a more positive body image of themselves. So I have some concluding pictures. To all the girls that think you're ugly because you're not a size 0, you're the beautiful one. It's society who's ugly, from Marilyn Monroe. And then confidence will make you happier than any diet ever will. So embrace your body. And
All right, you're going to have to give me a second here. All right, Kaley, you start with your purpose statement instead of the attention device, and that seemed a little bit odd. I guess the visual's in part supposed to be some of your attention device, but just the words up there and reading them feels really awkward. Then when you get into the body, further into the introduction, you basically repeat the purpose statement and provide a preview. I appreciated the preview, that's good, so we know kind of where you're going, but it needs to be clearer. Those things are not particularly distinct. You set them up, but they're just words. They need to be more complete sentences explaining what you're going to be saying about each of those points. The signpost on the first point was okay. That was so we knew where you were. But then you start presenting material on photoshopping, and all you have is the one example. So the question I have is, where do you get any information that says photoshopping has created a problem? There's not an authority that you cite that tells us that people have a false image of society, except that you say that because there's photoshopping. When you said that one picture, she looks like a painting or she looks fake to me, that's exactly the way she looks to me too. So why would I think that anybody is like that? In essence, you're just pointing out something that seems pretty obvious on its face, that somebody has been, photoshopped. The smooth skin, that whole plastic look. The second picture with the couple on the beach, to me, it didn't even look like it was the same picture. because it looked like they'd taken the faces of people and put them onto somebody else's bodies, and that was again pretty obvious. But so what? What's the impact of doing that in advertising? If you're saying that happens all of the time, and as a consequence of that, people have this false belief that this is how human beings look, and then they feel dissatisfied about themselves. Well, you've got to put some information together that says that. You are just reaching these conclusions without offering much proof. Just the examples of the pictures are not enough to prove that this sort of thing happens. The link to social media, you had a quote there, and it was interesting, but I'm not exactly sure that we've seen, has there been a dramatic increase in plastic surgery as a result of social media? Are people dieting more than they did 30 years ago? Are people less happy with their faces because of the social media? I'm not quite sure that you've got any proof here. You've got a general statement from somebody, I don't, they might be very knowledgeable about the subject. I don't know. Their only credential was that they're a columnist. So they certainly have an opinion, but what's their opinion based on? We don't get any information about that. The idea that depression is somehow related to the things that people see on Facebook, I'm not sure if that is tied. Now is your criticism about photoshopping pictures, or is it about the fact that people lead lives that are desperate because they're looking for friends online, and they see people, even if they aren't Photoshop pictures, they see people having a good time or at parties and all that kind of stuff, and they say, gee, I never go to parties, I never have a good time, I'm never doing any of these kinds of fun things. Is that an advertising thing? That sounds very generic as to what you're talking about. Speaking of the advertising thing, you've got a couple of random examples of advertising that does play. I mean, there's no dispute that some of the advertising that you cite does play on the idea that people are concerned about their body image, and they want to associate their product with something that's going to be a positive kind of thing. It was a little strange, though, to me, because later on you say studies, which by the way are unnamed studies, say that physical attractiveness is ranked really high by people, and they score people on employment and all those kinds of things based on physical attractiveness. Well, that sounds like to me a reason to exercise and diet and be worried about, maybe I should get some plastic surgery and fix myself, because if I'm being judged by everybody else, there's an issue that's going on there. The statistic that you had at the beginning of the speech about 80% being dissatisfied with their body or 90% being dissatisfied with their bodies, you need to explain that that's unrealistic. For example, what is a realistic expectation? Because I got to be honest, when I look around, I see a large part of the population that ought to be dissatisfied with their bodies. Including the one when I look in the mirror. It's one of those things where, say, maybe I need more advertising in my life, so I would be more motivated to stop eating crap or to exercise more, so I'd be healthier, or be less depressed. I never realized I was depressed. Not about that anyway. All right. So it just feels like you're hitting some basic points on this issue, but none of them are developing, and it's not really scoring much. And I didn't hear a lot of source citation. A couple of quotes, but those are the quotes that you put up on the screen that we can read for ourselves, but they aren't about the issue that you're talking about, and that seemed a little bit problematic. Joan Rivers, for instance, I'm trying to wonder, well, how does celebrity plastic surgery fit into this? Are you saying that Joan Rivers needed to get plastic surgery because she looked at the world around her and felt inadequate because of advertising and photoshopping and social media? Or did she look at the world around her and say, you know what, I'm a celebrity, I'm on TV, on the social media, and I got to look appropriate? And what's wrong with the fact that she can afford to get cosmetic surgery and has done so? I mean, I might not like the way it looks, but you know what? Apparently my opinion doesn't really matter that much, because the other things weren't bothering me that much either. I'm sorry, those like the Photoshop pictures you show, I thought the girl with the short hair was a lot cuter than the one with the long hair.
No.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
That's preference.
Photoshop.
You know, they add the hair and she doesn't even look like she's wearing the same bathing suit. I'm going, what the hell? So, but somebody out there thinks differently. So like I said, why do they think differently? There's got to be some research that talks about those kinds of things. I feel like I've gone, I've taken a little dip in the pool of this information, but I haven't gone very far into the deep end on it, and I've barely gotten wet with it. And I ought to be swimming around in data and information and enjoying the experience a lot more. That's a metaphor. All right. I already used that joke, right? I metaphor and married a 10.
Oh my God.